Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 3 of lesson number 15, Improvement in Food Resources. So in this part, that is part 3, we will be discussing more about the food resource. As you all know, we have already started with the lesson and we have started discussing about the different types of crops which have been grown, right? And if you remember, in part 1 we had the basic discussion on the overall lesson. Part 2 we discussed about the different types of seasons, that is we have two seasons, Kharif season and Rabi season, and then we have discussed on hybridization in detail, where we have three different types of hybridization that we had discussed, right? So before I move forward with this lesson, that is part 3 of the lesson, Improvement in Food Resources, I want each one of you to please revise whatever notes you have taken from like part 1. You might have taken note at part 1, part 2, right? So I want you all to please revise it quickly. I hope every one of you are revising whatever notes you have taken. Revision is very important for you because on the basis of your revision, your mind will prepare your like you all in framing you and writing your own answers. Okay, so that is the reason you have to revise the lesson so that you come across the point many times. Once you're done with the revision from your book, I'm going to show you all the slides one by one, which you all have to go through and revise the concepts again. Okay, and if you think that you have missed out any important point, please take that down again. Okay, So everyone, I want you all to please go through this slide as well. This is the introduction to the lesson, improvement in food resources. Okay, so please go through it quickly. I hope every one of you are going through the slide. I want you all to be clear with each and everything that we are studying. Each and every statement you should be clear with. Okay? After this slide, like after discussing on the plants and about the livestock and all, we discussed on improvement of the crop yield, and under this we had discussed the types of crops. So we have cereals, pulses, oil seeds, spices, fodder crops, which are like been given over here, and the examples have been mentioned, right? So I want each one of you to please revise it quickly. I hope now if I ask you to name some cereals, pulses, oilseeds, spices, fodder crop, you would be able to, right? So these are the different types of crops, and you can get this to write for 2 marks as well. After this types of crops, we discussed on like some of the pictures that you can see. These are not the same type of crop. These are different types of crops. As discussed, we have cereals, pulses, oil seeds, spices, fodder crop, right? So this is the picture, and then we discussed on the two different seasons which are more suitable for growing crop. And these two seasons are Kharif crop and Rabi crop. You can even call it as Kharif season and Rabi season. Okay. You should be even knowing the example of it. Okay. I hope you all are going through this Kharif crop and Rabi crop. After this, the next thing that we have is improvement in crop yield, and for that we can have three different activities which can be performed. That is crop variety of like the variety of the crop can be improved. Then secondly, the production of the crop can be improved, and lastly we can protect the crop. Okay. So I want you all to please know these three activities, and we have already discussed one, right? So please go through it, everyone. So we have already discussed on crop variety improvement. I want you all to please go through this slide because this is one of the most important slide. Why? Because it has information on hybridization and the three types of hybridization, that is interspecific, intergeneric, and intervarietal. Okay, so please go through that, everyone. I hope you all are going through this slide. Now after this here, if you can see, you have already learned about genetically modified crops as well, right? Now after this we have the next thing to discuss, that is crop variety improvement and why exactly crop variety improvement is necessary. So there are certain reasons which have been given over here, right? So let's see what are the reasons. So first thing that has been given over here is to increase the yield of the crop. Okay, because that is very important. Now as we have discussed in part 1 that the population is increasing but the food crop which is available remains the same, because of which it's a very difficult task, right, for the farmers and even for the whole world to get food on our plate. So that is the reason we are coming up with this crop variety improvement technique, so that the yield of the crop can be increased and the demand of the population can be met. Okay, then second thing that we have is biotic and abiotic resistance. So to increase the resistance of crop, for biotic factors we have, like biotic factors includes insects, diseases and pests, and abiotic factors includes heat, cold, salinity and frost. So we have to make sure that our crops are resistant to this biotic and abiotic factors. Okay, then after this we have change in maturity duration. So now the duration of sowing and harvesting the crop, that should not be, you can say the duration should not be long. Okay, it should be less. Okay, so that the farmer can grow multiple crops in a year. Now we know that farmer keeps on this practice, right, that he tries to grow multiple crops throughout the year, where we have some kharif crops and rabi crops which have been grown. So you're already aware of it, right? Then after that we have wider adaptability. Now the agricultural land should be adaptable to different types of crops which are grown in different climatic conditions. Okay, so that is wider adaptability. Then after that we have desirable agronomic characters as well, which are also very important. Okay, so tallness and more branches for fodder crop, dwarfness for cereal crops. So the agricultural land should be as such that it should be able to adapt the agronomic characters, because fodder crops are going to be tall and they will have more and more branches. Whereas when it comes to cereal crops are going to be dwarf. Dwarf means they are going to be short. Okay. Then after that we have the last point, that is improved quality. So baking quality of wheat, preserving quality of fruits and vegetables, oil quality of oil seeds. These are different examples you can say. Okay, and these are the reason why the crop variety improvement is important. Okay. After discussing about this crop variety improvement, there are total 6 different points under this. First is higher yield. Second one is biotic and abiotic resistance. Then we have change in maturity duration. After that, we have wider adaptability, desirable agronomic characters, and lastly, we have improved quality. So, these are the 6 important reasons, okay, why crop variety improvement is needed. So, I hope you all are writing this and taking a note of it properly. After this, the next thing that we have is crop production management. How can we manage the production of the crop? So this is going to include 3 different aspects. One is nutrient management, that the crop is getting appropriate amount of nutrient. Then irrigation, it has been watered properly. Then after that, after irrigation, we have the last one, that is the cropping pattern. Okay, so when it comes to nutrient management, it means it includes controlling the selection, time and amount of nutrient supply. Okay, we are controlling the time, amount of nutrient supply that the plant will get. And plants get nutrient from air, water and soil, right? We all are aware of it, that plants have this air, water and soil, which provides the plant with the specific nutrient that has been required by them. So altogether, there are 16 nutrients which have been required by the plant. How many nutrients? There are 16 nutrients which have been required by the plant. Okay. I hope you all are writing it. After this nutrient management, as we discussed that the plants get nutrient from air, water and soil. So air supplies include oxygen and carbon dioxide, water supplies include hydrogen, and lastly soil supplies include the 13 nutrients. So as discussed that there are 16 different nutrients which have been needed by the plant, right? So air supply will include oxygen and carbon dioxide, water will include hydrogen, and the soil will include the remaining 13 nutrients. Okay, now there are two types of nutrients, always remember this, you will have this further as well. We have two different types of nutrients in our body. One is macronutrient and other one is micronutrient. Okay, so macronutrients are the nutrients which your body requires in large quantity. Okay, and they are carbon, oxygen that we get from air, hydrogen that we get from water, not us. Okay, we are talking about plants. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur that plants get from soil. Okay, so these are the macronutrients which are need like required by the plants. Macro means large quantities. Okay, then we have the next thing as micronutrients. Now this micronutrients are required in small quantity by the plant, and this micronutrients includes iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, and they get this from soil again. Okay, from where do they get this? They get this from soil. So I hope you all are writing about this macro and micronutrients in your book. After this macronutrients and micronutrients, we have the next thing, that is manure. But please write all the supplies, that is air, water and soil supplies, and which are the macro and micronutrients. So sorry. Okay, so after this, the next thing that we have is about manure. So let's discuss about manure quickly. Now, how exactly this manure has been prepared? You can even prepare this manure. So manure is prepared by decomposition of plant and animal waste. How is it prepared? By decomposition of plant and animal waste, and it is an organic matter and nutrient. Organic means it doesn't have any kind of chemical in them. They are organic and they have nutrients in them. Okay, so it helps to increase the fertility of the soil, and we have two types of manure. One is compost and the other one is green manure. Okay, so compost is prepared by decomposition of plants and animals. How is it prepared? By decomposition of plants and animals. And lately what happens, that plant and animal waste will get composted, and this composting has been done by using red worm or earthworm, and we call this red worm or earthworm like they have been useful for us in vermicomposting. Okay, where are they useful? They are useful for vermicomposting. Then next that we have is green manure. So green manure includes, see, before sowing the seeds, some green plants like sunham, gore, they are mixed in the soil by the process of plowing. So these plants, they are going to turn into green manure, and then it will like make the soil rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. What will it do? It will make the soil rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay, so I want you all to please write this in your book, and I hope you all have understood it as well. Once you are done writing about this, we'll study about fertilizer, and then we'll stop for the day. So after this we have fertilizers. Now see, manures, they were like organic, they didn't had any chemicals in them. But when it comes to fertilizers, fertilizers are chemical substances which are present and they are made commercial. Okay. And then lastly we have that fertilizers supply nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and help to increase the fertility of the soil and the crop yield. So if we have to increase the yield of the crop, that can be done using fertilizers, right? Once you are done with this, we will move on to the next part. Like I'll stop over here and then in the next class I'll be starting with it again. Okay? So now the next thing that we have, that is about animal husbandry. I will be starting this in the next class. Okay? Then after this animal husbandry, we have the next thing to discuss, which is cattle farming. So we will be discussing on this again in the next class. Okay? Then after cattle farming, we have poultry farming as well, and again poultry farming I'll continue with in the next class. Then we have egg and broiler production. After egg and broiler production, we have to discuss about fish production, and under this fish production we have the first thing to discuss, that is marine fisheries. So we will discuss about marine fisheries. Then the next we have is inland freshers. Okay, after this inland fresh fisheries we'll discuss on beekeeping. Then after beekeeping we have the next thing, that is summary discussion. So we will be doing this in the next class. make sure whatever we have discussed till now in the lesson, every one of you are very much clear with it. So I will be continuing from where I have left in the next part. Okay, now before ending this part, I want you all to please go through the exercise question that I'm going to show you on screen. So please go through all the 6-7 questions that we have. Okay. I hope you all are going through the question, everyone. So this is how we will end up with the whole lesson. That is improvement in food resources. And I hope that you have understood whatever we have discussed today, and we will be continuing with the rest of the part in the next class. Thank you, everyone.